So we want to split this image up. Krita has a very easy way of splitting up this image. One of the things we want to do is we want to have a place for the split images to go to, that place being a folder. So what we're going to do is I'm going to Windows computer, so I'm going to press Windows E. It's a shortcut for just bringing up your file folder. I'm going to look for the folder that I'm using, and then I'm going to make a folder to hold these images in. Here's the folder here. So I'm just going to make a new folder by clicking this button to the upper left. And I'm just going to name this holder, short for image holder. So now that I have this file folder made up, I'm going to go back to Krita. So here we are in Krita. So with this image here selected, typically when I'm in the image manipulation program, I'll almost always duplicate the layer just so I have a backup. So with this this layer here, I just right clicked and clicked duplicate, by the way. With this layer here selected, I'm going to go to image split. So once I click image split, you see this image pop up. So we have horizontal lines as well as vertical lines. This is very important. We're just going to take this up to 2. So we have 2 for horizontal lines, 2 as well as vertical lines. The rest of how this is set up, we're going to leave this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click apply. So once we clicked apply, now Krita is basically saying, where do you want me to send this these images from the original images? So this is going to be split up images. So I'm going to left click on holder, then I'm going to click select folder. Okay, so now when we go to holder, the folder I made to hold up the multiple images, we have these different images here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, what Krita does is very nice is these images are split up equally. They're all the same size, and Krita split this up and did this work very quickly. So this is nice. Okay, now what we're going to do is go to Gdevelop 5. Okay, here in Gdevelop 5, we're going to left click on create a new project. We're going to select empty game. Then when we did that, we have these menus pop over to the left. See where we see scenes? We have this plus right underneath. We're going to left click on that plus. We're then going to left click on new scene. Now we see what's on our screen now. Okay, what we're about to do is bring in a player character. We're going to use player sprites to animate that character. To get these player sprites, what you can do is you can go to littleguycgi.com. You can left click on game visuals, scroll down, click on game assets, scroll down, look to where you see player sprites, left click here, scroll down, and then you see this isometric blockman animation frames. This is what we're going to be using for this tutorial. So you can click here and then download these sprites so you can follow along with this tutorial. These sprites will be provided to you free of charge. Okay, so what we want to do is go to our right. We want to click this plus button. We want to select sprite. We're going to name this player. Then what we're going to do is click the plus button to the right. And what we're going to do is this animation run, we're going to name this idle. We're then going to press the plus button to the right again. This animation, so this is the 0's idle, the 1, this animation here, we want to name this left. We're going to click this plus button to the right again. We're going to name this right. We're going to click the plus button to the right again. We're going to name this up. We're going to click the plus button to the right again. We're going to name this down. And then we're going to click apply. Okay, I applied this just because I wanted to have the animation names stay in our file, and so I could save this. So what we're going to do is left click to go back in here. We have our names, so we need to just take the animation frames and match them up with the names. So we have an idle pose. That's going to be one pose. So we double clicked. We're going to look for where that idle pose is at. It's here. So I'm going to go to idle, left click, and then bring in that idle pose. We need the left frames. We're going to click here. Same thing again. Go to where those are at. Here's left. So I'm going to hold Control, press A, then click open. We're going to go to right, plus, same thing. We are going to look for those, for where things are right. Double click, hold Control, press A. We're then going to click open. We need the up frames, same thing. We are looking for up. Double click, hold Control, press A, click open. We need the down frames. We're going to left click, same thing again. We're looking for down here. We're going to hold Control, press A, click open. So then now what we're going to do is we want these to loop, so we're going to left click to change this don't loop to loop. We're then going to click apply. Okay, I clicked apply and I came out. Again, I wanted to save the file. You could, just stay in and keep doing this. So I left click to go back in. See this behaviors up top here? We're going to left click on behaviors. Then we have this purple line going underneath behaviors. We're going to click the plus button to the right. We have all these different behaviors. Now what behaviors are they are a way of adding basic actions to our characters. So what we want to do is select this top-down movement. We're going to left click here. And then we want to look to where we see this rotate object. We're going to unclick rotate object. We have our max speed here at 200. What we want to do is change the speed from 200 to 75. And then with that set up, we want to click apply. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our upper right. We're going to left click, then left click and drag our player out into our player area. So you can see our player is fairly big. We're going to hover over this corner square, hold shift, and then I'm going to left click and drag to shrink the player down. This button to the upper right is our preview button. I'm going to click here, and you can see that when I push the what I am doing is I'm pushing the arrow keys and our player is moving around. The player is not animating though. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set up to program to have this player animate. We're going to go through this fairly quickly. I have another tutorial on this channel that goes through this in a good amount of depth. So what we're going to do is look to our upper left. On the screen we're in, pretty much as far as Gdevelop, we work with art here. We click this new scene and events. This takes us to a tab where we can work with programming, and this is where we're gonna program to set up our animations. What we're gonna do is look to our upper right. See this plus button here? We're gonna left click there. Once we left click there, now we have basically an event where we can add a condition as well as an action. Okay, in Gdevelop, pretty much condition says when something happens. You tell like Gdevelop when something happens. That's what conditions deal with. Actions pretty much tell Gdevelop what to do when that thing happens. So what we want to do is we want to left click on add condition. We want to scroll down and look down for top down movement, which is right here. We're going to left click on top down movement, and then we see this is moving. We're going to left click on is moving. We're going to left click on player, and then we're going to click OK.